Is my audio working? Okay, we got a little lag going here. So, let's see. This is a project I'm working on. Had a fella wanted a 30 by 40 storage situation, and I was getting ready to alter this. I had one 32 by 40, so I'm going to have to alter it and do a new roof system. And I thought I would just turn on the camera and go live, but I was in the process of moving the storage container over. So I'll just do that, 24 inches. And I've got to move my let's see, 4x4 over. This is the 4x4 that straps, that gets connected to the top of the container. I forgot why I let that hang over like that. I think it had to do, it has to do with this situation that I was doing for the military, Chief Don. When we had a load bearing, we had a beam that we had to build across here because they only had 2x6s, and this is trusses, so we can clear span this. So what I'll do is I'll measure and see how long I made it. That's actually the 40 feet. Okay, that makes sense. I'll just leave it that way. Move the straps over 2 feet. And these get welded. These metal straps get welded to the container and then bolted to the 4x4. And I'm going to change the color. Well, the reason this is all black and white looking is because this project, like this other project that I did, will not just be a model, it will be a construction drawing. So when you print your construction drawings, you don't want a lot of color in there because it just will eat up your ink in a heartbeat. But for this project, I'm going to go ahead and recommend that we put, he doesn't have to do this, but I'm going to show it. I feel like we need more attachment, especially in a high wind situation. So I want to add a 4x4 on each side. So what I think I'm going to do is move this over. Let's see, that would be 22 feet. Yeah, 8 and 14. Yeah, that's right. And then these straps. What did I do? Copy it? I copied it, didn't I? That makes sense. And then we will have didn't quite copy that correctly. So make sure you're on the right axis when you're doing this, so you'll screw up. Now what I could do is, let's let's see. Do the same thing coming back this way. This container on 8 feet wide. Oh, I know what I did. Yeah. Okay, so that gets me a 4x4 attached to the top of both sides. And the main reason I'm doing this is to give plenty of attachment for the roof trusses in like a higher wind situation if you're like out west in Oklahoma or someplace. So that is that. Now, let me see if I have anybody watching or commenting. Okay. It's funny because I'll do these container projects for people. Let's put our roof trusses on for storage, shops or storage or barns or whatever. But I'm really not going to get into them for homes. I have an alternative method for someone who wants to build a tiny home, and you can watch my videos. I've already demonstrated that you can frame up one cheaper than buying a container. And in construction, we don't start with our siding and build a house inward. So I don't want to get into all that right now, but let's see. Top cord 412. Overhang. Let's go 16 inches on overhang. This is the Medique truss extension. Web ply thickness. Okay. 40 feet. That's right. Truss 24 inches on center. Gable in truss. No. Let's see. So that's spacing 24. Let's see. I think what we did was let me just see how the gables turn out. We may change the gable ends to have blocking in them. Cable stud spacing. Let's see. Advanced roof options. Yes. Yes. Material subfascia. Yes. Board. Yes. Let's just go ahead and leave all this the way it is, and we can change it later. There we go. That's all that, and of course that created a bunch of layers for me that I'll have to deal with. Oh, not too many. Let's see. It didn't create layers. I must have had that turned off. Let's see what layer this is in. Untagged. Untagged. So the roof layers must not be turned on. Oh, I think I updated the extension and I didn't go in and turn on layers. Oh, shoot. You know what I think I'm going to do is turn that on and then because even though this is annoying, let's see, I could actually get rid of some of these since I don't want them. let's because I noticed it creates these dimension layers even though I don't have dimensions turned on. So we'll leave all those. I don't like all these layers. And then I'm going to say save settings, and we'll go from there. And then we'll delete this. I used to draw these trusses by hand. I would draw a truss, and then make a component out of it, and then I would copy them. And then I found Medique. Nathan Wilkerson's done a really good job, and for some reason I have lag on my computer. I wonder what is going on. Let's just say okay to everything. Now I should have my layers. Yeah, now it's a bit annoying to have all these layers, but they come in handy when you start. Like when I start doing my roof framing plan, let's just do that. This is my roof framing. I can go in here and look, the old trusses are there. Those are the old 32-foot trusses. Let me turn those off. Roof truss original, turn those off. Roof. Let's see, gable plywood, turn that off. Now I can go down here and turn my roof sheeting off, and now this will kind of set up my roof framing plan. And then I can update this so that won't be annoying anymore. Now see, I've debated as to whether to delete this old roof. I think what I'm going to do is move it over here, because the reason I'm not deleting is because I actually hand drew all of these trusses, and this was the job I did for the Navy, where they hand build their trusses, and I drew all these gussets and I drew all these nails. So I'm not going to delete this. I put there's probably 40 hours in this roof, that one roof system. But what I do want to do is make sure I get all of it. And it just occurred to me that I have this cool 5v10 on there too. That's one roof material that I've been trying to get Medique to add to their collection. Let's move it 50 feet. And I'm going to turn it off. And we'll update that view just so I don't have to do that again. Any questions? No questions yet? Good, I'm working. I am working. So, let's see. Oh, I was going to add some footings. So, this project was for, again, I'm editing a project that was for the military, and they only wanted these 4 footings, which I thought was not enough, because believe it or not, these containers are not load bearing along their lengths. They're load bearing on the corners. You see these big honking steel blocks here, and there's a steel post in the corner, and then another huge block here, and this is where they connect together at the corners. The roofs of these are not structurally bearing, or they wouldn't, don't take much of a load. There is a channel down there, but they're not designed to take a load, and that's why we add this kind of a beam effect where we put the 4x4 and then these metal band braces to kind of create a truss effect. And that's why I wanted to add another 4x4 on each side to strengthen that up. I'm going to turn this view on. I like this view while I'm working. I can see the pretty sky in the background. So I know what I was going to do. Let's see. I'm going to save that view in this perspective. Update. And I'm going to go to the foundation, and I'm going to turn off my sheeting, my trusses. Why is this still on? Roof. What is that? NPC. Is that layer needed? Roof framing, containers, 4x4s, pretty much everything. All I want in this view is my piers and the dash line for the outline of the container, just indicating where the containers sit. So what I want to do here is create a, we should have 40 feet from here to here. Yeah, 40 feet. So what I want to do is go 8-foot centers. 8 feet. 8 feet. And we will just, oops. I'm going to have those in a group. We'll remove these. Lock that axis, and then I think I wish I had done was do that. Let me do this again. If I get that construction line up on the same plane, I can reference it. And I like these to be accurate. I don't want this to be inaccurate. Now I'll get a little reference for my center line. See, just going to move that one. Move this one. So these are the concrete footings that are going to help distribute the load. Should be 8 feet, and then if I copy that back 16, we'll have one over here too. There we go. Although that seems like an overkill, a little bit of an overkill. Let me ask him. I think what I'm going to do is save this whole thing. And I'm going to copy it over here 50 feet, so it'll be with this other one. Oops. And I'm going to put it in that layer so I can turn it off. Let's turn off this gable plywood too. And then I'm going to probably, for this application, this is just for storage. Probably going to leave them on 10 feet because that, I don't know, I'm going to ask him about it too, the owner. And part of the reason for that is because the footings are themselves are, I think, how long are they? I guess they're 2 feet, yeah. So, I mean, you only have, between them, you only have 8 feet. So I feel like that I was getting a bit of an overkill asking someone to put that many in. I mean, at some point, when you have so many footings, excuse me, you might as well just dig a trench and pour concrete in it. You know. Now these can be substituted for sonotubes also. You can just dig a hole. You can auger a hole here and put yourself a sonotube in the ground. And we're looking straight down on these, but they go underground. You know, well, for the military, the one project we were doing, they went, excuse me, 24 inches. Well, the whole thing was 24 inches. So this is the grade. This is the grade. You see them popping up out of the ground a little bit there, just to get the container up off the ground. And if you had any slope, most sites are not perfectly level. They shouldn't be really, because you end up getting a lot of standing water in places. But if you have some slope to your site, then some of these would just, the tops of the footings would be poured level. Excuse me, I'm gonna frog in my throat all of a sudden. Okay, so now we're going to turn our containers back on. And our 4x4s and our roof framing. So that's funny. And our roof trusses. There we go. Now I have to address this issue of if typically you would have a if this was a house, you would have a wall at the end, you know, at the end of your house. You wouldn't have this big opening, obviously, and the gable end truss would not be load bearing. It would have it would be studded. So I think what I'm going to do is go back, and this is one nice thing about this. I can edit this, and I can go back, I think, and add, yes, gable end trusses, and update that. Now, what I can do to take care of the fact that this is not a load bearing truss is I can kind of cheat. I can go in here and I can copy one of these trusses and I can paste it out here. Let's see, I don't want to mess up. I got to be careful not to mess up my, I don't know why that's in that orientation. Not to mess up my, I still want to be able to edit this. And I've noticed that if I make too many changes to it manually, I can't go back and update it. So I got to be careful about that. But I think what I'm going to do, and I've done this before, is just take a load bearing truss and slide it over here beside this. And this is actually ends up being cheaper than trying to go in and stud cut. Because what some people will try to do is go in here and put blocks. They'll try to take these blocks from this gable end truss, and put them in this webbing and cut them at all those angles. You can see the first three blocks are, studs are not a big deal, but then you start cutting along these angles and it becomes a pain. These trusses may only cost like $80 a piece, and you're only buying 2 extra trusses. So it's easier to do it this way and cheaper, where you just add these two, because and you just nail them together really well. And what that does is it creates a situation where you can span this end, you see, and it kind of creates a beam along this outside edge, and it just reinforces the whole gable end. It works well. So now let's go and let's see if I can edit this. I hope I haven't screwed it up. Let's see. What I want to do is add. Well, let's see if I just add the OSB. If I can do that. Did I screw it up? See, I added the wall sheeting, and maybe I've got it turned off. That's the roof sheeting wall. Yeah, okay, good. It's working. I just had the layer turned off. That's good. Now let's go add some siding on the end. Let's see. Yes. Update. I've got all these layers turned off. There we go. And I don't know exactly what type of siding he wants. That's another thing. I'll have to send him this and see what he wants to use. But then I can turn the roof sheeting back on. And then I think he's going to use like a tough rib, but the roof cladding. Let's go edit and see if we can get the metal roof to come on. Metal roof. I should have just turned all this on, but I was interested. I was wanting to fix that truss issue on the end. Now here's a good question. If I regenerate the, will it remove the trusses that I put? No? Okay, good. Because I copied those outside of the, that's good. Good. I was afraid it would regenerate with those gone, but it didn't. That's good. So now I can go in here and edit this again and add the roofing, they call it cladding. Roof cladding, yes. And then the only thing he really has is corrugated metal. Let's see. Oh, he's got 5V in here. That's cool. He must have added that. Antique bronze, brick red. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, yeah. Cool. Yeah, he does his materials with images. I actually like to draw my roofing to give the roofing more depth. Let's go over here and turn on the original. Oh, I got turned around. That was weird. I actually drew this metal, this 5V roofing, so you can see it makes it look more real when you're looking at it in a perspective. You get the actual ridges. So what I may do is add. I'm going to ask him what kind of roofing he wants first, and then we'll go from there. But see, when I print the drawings, it's just going to look. Let's see, it'll look like, see that, and that's the problem um, with using images for your textures. When I print this drawing, you can see the lines in the roofing. But when you print this one, all you're going to see is a blank area. So what I'm probably going to do is turn off the roof cladding, and put my own roofing on there. But I like to work in this mode because it's just it's a more pleasant working atmosphere. Let's see. See if anybody's got any questions. Nope, no questions. Okay. So then I think I need to go add the soffit. Let's do that. There we go. That looks good. I think I'm just going to delete all this other junk. It's going to get in the way of it's going to be annoying to have to deal with it every time I turn around. And I've got it in another drawing already. So let's go back to my piers, and I got to fix this where the roof cladding is off. All these roof layers should be off. And the container should be off. And those 4x4 should be off. This should be update. Get in a little closer here. Update. I don't really need a pure detail. Floor model, floor plan. I don't need that. That was from another thing, another project. Roof framing plan. Let's see. Roof cladding. Let's turn off the containers. I don't need them. Turn off the footings. And let's turn off the 4x4s. That's a little confusing. And we'll turn off the bar straps. What is that other? Let's save this. Then we'll figure out what that line is. What is that line? Oh, that's the soffit. I need to turn that off. Yeah, that's good. This will be our roof framing plan. Update. Decking. I don't know why I had that so far out. need a roof decking plan. Don't need that. Elevation perspective. Front. We're going to get rid of this. I'm going to call this the front. We're going to call this the right. So we'll have a front and back that's the same. And then we'll have elevation perspective. I think I'm going to delete the, or take off the roof cladding. It's actually becoming rather annoying to look at. Roof cladding, no. There, I think I'd rather look at the OSB. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. I need to go into that other drawing and get those what I should have done was not, let's see, did I get rid of it altogether? I did. In my haste, I got rid of that other project stuff. Now I'll have to go into the other drawing and get it. Anyway, this is mainly what I wanted to show was the configuration, and I'm going to show this to him, and I'm going to show these footings, the way they're laid out, and the way the containers and the roof look. And then what I'll do is, if he likes this, I will go into start the construction drawing process, and I'll probably come back at that point and continue this little project. I'll check to see. Don't really have any questions today, so whoever watched, I appreciate it, or whoever watches in the future, thank you. If you have any questions or you want a project like this, you can visit me at atdrafting.com, and I'll be happy to help you. Thanks.